together we looked at how endurance exercise affects body fat in college students. We chose this topic because college is when a lot of people see changes in their activity and people see changes in their eating habits as well. So it's very important to maintain a healthy body. Why this matters on campus. So during college, students often gain weight, and that can be due to sitting more, staying up late, eating at random times, and less sleep. That combination tends to lower metabolism and increase fat storage. So endurance exercise like running, cycling, rowing, or even walking at a fast pace helps reverse that by increasing energy use and promoting fat oxidation, which is basically just the body's way of burning fat for fuel. Our goal was to find out which formats of endurance exercise work best for students and how to use them safely. When you consistently do endurance exercise, your body creates an energy deficit, which basically means you're burning more calories than you take in. It also changes how your body uses fuel. After long workouts or interval sessions, you shift to burning more fat instead of carbs, and even for a while after you stop, and that's called excess post-exercise oxygen consumption. Health guidelines recommend at least 150 minutes per week of moderate aerobic activity or 75 minutes a week of vigorous activity. Now let's see what research says when these methods are tested on college students. So the first study we looked at compared high-intensity interval training with moderate intensity continuous training. So 40 college students with obesity trained 3 times a week for 8 weeks on a treadmill. The high-intensity group did 4 rounds of 4 minutes at 85 to 90% of their max heart rate, followed by short recovery periods. The moderate intensity continuous training group just did steady state cardio at 60 to 70% intensity for 35 minutes. Both groups ended up losing body fat, but the high intensity interval training group produced lower reductions in body fat percentage and also improved their cholesterol. The main limitation was that it only lasted 8 weeks and their diets weren't super strict. So high intensity interval training works well, but it can be very demanding. So the next study we looked at tested a lighter version that can be easier for students. So this pilot study tested moderate intensity interval training, which is designed for people who find high intensity interval training too hard or too challenging. 12 college students with low activity levels cycled 3 times a week for 5 weeks. Each session had 7 short 1-minute intervals at about 70% of their heart rate max, with easier 1-minute rests in between, and only about 14 minutes total per session. Even with this lower intensity, they saw significant reductions in their body weight, BMI, and fat mass compared to a control group. The study was short and had a small sample size, but it showed moderate intensity interval training could be a realistic starting point for most students. Lastly, we looked at one more study that tested how much high intensity work is needed to burn the most fat. In this study, 32 overweight male college students performed 1, 2, or 3 cycles of Tabata training, which is 8 rounds of 20 seconds all-out effort with 10 seconds of rest. They measured fat and glucose oxidation for 30 minutes afterwards, and the results showed that 2 cycles produced the highest fat burning rates, while the 3rd cycle didn't add any extra benefit. It was just a short-term study, but it highlights that you don't need extreme volume, just enough intensity to spark fat oxidation.
Okay, so next we looked into what format works best for college students. The first one that we said was a steady state, which proves fat loss volume with 150 minutes a week. But it's easy to schedule because you don't have to do this all at once, start out with like 150 minutes a week like immediately. An easier way you can do this is that you could split it up, like do 5 days a week, 30 minutes each of those 5 days. The second part is high intensity interval training, which can be done by running the treadmill as well as the Tabata cycle. It is similar or greater BF percentage drop versus moderate intensity training in 8 weeks in less time. This also involves having a BMI that is greater or equal to 25. Also maintaining a stable weight and not engage in any physical activity beyond their normal daily routines. Next one we have here is a moderate intensity interval training, which is short tolerable sessions that still reduce fat mass. This involves engaging in low-level physical activity, which helps improve BF percentage, fat mass, and recovery heart rate. An effective strategy for short-term improvement in body composition for students with a low PAL. And a practical tip is a max formats to fit time/energy, eventually aiming for 150 minutes a week total. So program A that we have here is a beginner 4-week endurance plan. So weeks 1 through 2, it's going to involve 3 days of 25 to 30 minutes of a walk or easy jog, plus 1 day of 10 to 12 minute moderate intensity interval training. And then weeks 3 through 4 we'll see where it will increase. Where it will be 3 days, increase the time to 30 to 35 minutes steady, plus 1 day of now 12 to 16 minutes of moderate intensity interval training. So an optional finisher that you can do, you can actually also do a Tabata cycle for 4 minutes after a steady day as tolerance follows. And so doing the Tabata cycle, it involves 20 seconds of maximum intensity exercise followed by 10 seconds of complete rest. So you will be doing 8 cycles, which will be totaling 4 minutes. And this was actually identified to enhance energy expenditure and fat oxidation in humans. So the goal volume that you want to build by week 4 will be 150 minutes a week by week 4. You can start by doing vigorous intensity aerobic activity as well as muscle strength activities for 75 minutes a week. Just to start off and then work your way up to the 150 minutes by week 4, or you can do an equivalent mix of both. So program B that we got right here is a moderate 6 to 8 week plan, which involves running, cycling, and rowing. This involves two days of high intense interval training at 85 to 90% HR max, with 3 easy between 28 minutes. This involves a 85 to 90% maximum heart rate for 4 minutes, followed by a 3-minute recovery period, which you will have a 50 to 60% maximum heart rate during those 3 minutes. And you will repeat this for 4 times, which would equal 28 minutes total. Next one we got here is 1 to 2 days of moderate intensity training, 35 to 45 minutes at 60 to 70% heart rate max, and then you're supposed to build to 45 to 50 minutes by week 8. Also some warm-ups that are involved in this. To warm up, you would use the treadmill to start to get a 60 to 70% maximum heart rate, and then you would sustain it for 35 minutes. And then there's also a 3-minute warm up that you would do at 35% maximum heart rate. And then after the exercises are over, you will perform a little cool down and stretching routine after. Something optional that you can do is that you can swap one of the high intense training days for 2 Tabata cycles, separated by 8 to 10 minutes light movement, which would be like I said before, the Tabata cycle, it It obviously is a great method for energy expenditure and fat oxidation. And during that rest period that you would get for the 8 to 10 minutes, it would, you can do some light movements during that time. So the total would be 3 to 4 days a week. You should aim for 150 to 200 minutes / a week combined. So nutrition and recovery that make endurance work. You're supposed to be eating protein in each meal, about 20 to 35 grams of protein a meal. There's some examples in the picture right there. As this supports fat loss with lean mass. And it's important that you eat protein in each meal because this helps increase satiety, which is something that means it helps you feel more full. It also boosts metabolism and helps maintain muscle mass during calorie restrictions or / a diet. Next one, you're supposed to sleep for 7 to 9 hours because fatigue raises appetite and reduces training quality. So basically, if you don't get 7 to 9 hours of sleep, this actually disrupts the appetite. Basically, it's going to be regulating your hormones as it increases the hunger hormone ghrelin and decreases the satiety hormone leptin. So basically, you're going to feel more hungry when you get a lot of less sleep. Next up, you're going to have to fuel long sessions lightly. And avoid overeating, just because I worked out. Fueling long sessions lightly, this helps, and controlling your overeating, this helps promote better digestion and also prevents discomfort, maintains energy levels, and helps avoid overeating. Because if you're off with your workout routine and you find yourself overeating a lot, this helps impairs physical performance, cognitive function, and recovery. Last one we got right here is steps matter. On non-training days, they recommend you to walk 6 to 10K steps to keep total energy up, or daily energy up, excuse me. As this helps promotes recovery, aids weight management, provides numerous general health advantages without the impact of doing intense training. So common pitfalls and time savers for students. So doing only sprints with no steady volume is hard to sustain weekly because you're not doing sprints at like a steady volume. So sprints, when you're doing sprints with a steady volume, it helps improve performance by creating a consistent and manageable training stimulus that builds speed and power while minimizing the risk of overtraining. Another pitfall is going too hard too soon. Like I was saying earlier, it's better to divide it into smaller chunks, instead of going, completely trying to reach the overall goal immediately. Because when you first, say like you're going too hard when you first start working out, this actually increases the injury risk over time. So it's best to, start with what you're comfortable with doing, and then working your way up to more stuff as the weeks go along. So skipping easy days. Basically, some people may have days to where, they have the time to work out, but they choose not to because they give an excuse you're tired from school or something like that. But it's actually important to not skip these easy days because when you do, it's actually crucial for muscle repair, also prevents injury, and it also improves your overall mental well-being. It also allows your body to continue to adapt and get stronger over time as you continue to work out on these easy days. Some time savers you can do is, some campus loops, walking over campus, around campus, a couple times. Walking the class. Instead of just studying during your study breaks, you say you do the treadmill for 30 minutes to an hour or so. And then also, if you have a group of friends, say you meet on campus or outside of campus, you can get them involved and do some group workouts together and some runs. And that's the sources.
Thank you.